We are recording now. So let's call the meeting to order. And does any, by the way, I have hard copies of the previous rules, the amendments, but they don't have color, and the draft agenda. Does anyone want any of it? Actually, no, I'll just pass them all around. I have one full-page thing which I need to use when I'm doing it. There's only one copy of the front of the draft of the new ideas that are big. The other ones are small like this. I also have draft minutes. There are a few. I don't think I did enough for everyone. I just mainly did that so that people can visit. It's called to order. It's exactly 7 o'clock. The first item on our agenda, are there any objections to the agenda? So I guess either approved without objection. Consider the draft minutes from the previous meeting. If there is, I circulated with one correction from, I believe it was Gretchen. And does anyone, what?
I thought Gretchen got 2 corrections.
2 corrections. I thought I put them both in here. All right. Yes, there are 2 corrections in it. I can see 2 little lines off to the side. Then do I have a motion to approve them as the ones that were circulated?
So moved.
Second. I'm gonna just, since we have, and I think I know what the votes are gonna be, but I need to.
I do want new members to, you should abstain.
That I abstain as well.
I think we can need to switch my pens here because this one is not cooperating. Disadvantage.
Yep.
Okay. Did you vote?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes. And I vote yes. That's approved by a vote of 5 yes, 3 abstain. So now we move on to the next one. Next item on the agenda, that's just like that. No variance agenda, selection of vice chair. The chair would nominate Michael Hawk to be our vice chair. That means he has 2 main roles. One is to take over in case I can't serve as chair for a time, and also the glorious job of keeping track of the minutes. Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approved by vote of 8 to nothing.
Yes, 8 to nothing and 1 abstention.
Oh, 7, no. Sharon isn't here.
Just 8.
7 and 1 abstention.
He's abstaining.
Neat. I don't feel I should vote on myself for that nomination. Probably not necessary.
People have lost elections over
That's fine, I will vote for myself, so 8 to nothing.
Not that I want to pressure you. I did not pressure you.
No, I will leave that to the committee whether I vote for myself or not. I don't know what our history is on this matter.
I think everyone's allowed to vote. Anyway, move on. Thank you for serving. That's
Very well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And I still don't know if it'll ever happen, but I know about a year or so ago, my department head said that his neighbor was looking at doing a variance, and I thought, if that ever goes through, I definitely need to have a place.
Yeah.
Definitely want to have a place. Plus, there have been times when I've gotten sick. That we have so much going on. Committee rules. Now, this I hope we don't just approve the proposed changes. If people want to take a minute.
Do we want to read through them line by line? Do we want to just make the changes? Do we want to ask for recommendations first?
Yes.
How do we want to proceed?
Well, do you want?
I have the same page over and over.
Okay, that's because some of them are not. No, that's because this is just one, this didn't code, there's only one page, because it's four pages too. That's the existing rules, and there's a different, and the ones that are the proposed changes these are the proposed changes they have noted at the top of their proposed changes, so here are the proposed changes. And I can go through what I proposed, that if we want to line by line, or if someone else has a specific proposal to add, why don't we could start with that, and then we can go back through and list everything.
A general question.
Yeah.
Seems like there's a mix between will and shall. I don't know if that's intentional
No,
or
it is
some are
not
optional
intentional.
or.
No, we should pick one or the other, and I guess I would suggest getting rid of the shalls and turning them into wills, just because I like more human language. Let me just see something, I'm gonna go through each. I am not a master of Google Docs, so I'm trying to see what is the find and replace in Google Docs.
Control H.
Control H, I tried that and it did something weird. Yeah, they did that, it does something different, because it's in Chrome. I thought maybe using this instead of using Pages would make more sense, because it would be easier if anyone else needed to look at it.
Two will make it easier for me.
Fine, let's just do shall.
Is there a functional difference between shall and will?
No, but if you use one place, one thing you never want to do is use two words to mean the same thing. Because then people are going to ask, why did you use will here and shall there? So I see 6 shalls, so I'm going to switch to editing mode so that people can, so that I can. Okay. Tools, review suggested comments. I should have set this up to begin with. I apologize for not getting there's a specific command to put it, it's not listing these as changes.
So I thought in legalese, shall meant that there is no option, and that will meant,
To the
yeah,
best of your ability.
this is what, we want to happen, but if it doesn't, you won't be, prosecuted for it.
I have a similar understanding. From legal.
Yeah, we have that in common.
I'm trying to find I should not have used Google Docs for something that I was not 100% sure. Editing documents, suggesting. Okay, fantastic. And then I find shall, but I think here the wills work fine, because we really are doing our best to.
I would take consistency over preference on that myself.
Yeah, shall is often used as a duty, but I just, if we don't do it this way, why is this not? Okay, why is this not? Suggestions, edits become suggestions. Why did this not? I try to figure why in my copy here it didn't. Okay. Will. Sorry for this. Shall. This would have worked better if we could have if public meetings rules would have let us do this. I know why it's not doing here. Might be these are new language. This is new language, so it's not show. That's why I wasn't showing as an edit, because it was in new language and it doesn't show edits to edits. Okay, there are no more shalls. I replaced 6 shalls with wills.
This is I'm not sure necessary, but we're talking about commission chairs, committee chairs. Is it useful to, when you're talking about the commission, to say CAC and zoning variance when we're talking about the committee? Because there's a lot of times when it's commission chair, committee chair, commission chairs, and committee chairs, and does that become confusing? Or?
Is there any time when it's not clear from context which?
Well, at least 10 days before a meeting in which the commission votes on proposed committee members, the committee chair will consult with the chair and vice chair of the commission and about the list of applicants. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Reed's got a similar kind of thing going on.
And then it happens kind of throughout.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering if it might be more useful to, when you're talking about the commission, to say CAC, and we're talking about us to say zoning variance or Z&V or something like that.
Committee, or just committee chair.
Yeah. But like I said, when you get in these paragraphs that you're talking about both,
Yeah.
it gets kind of unwieldy, I
The
think.
committee chair will consult with, okay, again, I don't think I need to say, in 5, I don't think I need to say, to change CAC chair because it says chair and vice chair of the commission, so that's clear from code. All for those members.
Maybe that's just me, but it just, when it just seems kind of
No,
lumbersome.
you mean saying commission chair?
Commission chair, or CAC chair. Or CAC, period, that's all. At least 10 days before the meeting in which the CAC votes on proposed zoning committee members. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Well,
Besides-
just technically, the first time you go to use CAC, you're gonna have to write it out, Clintonville Area
Right.
Commission, paren, CAC.
And
And then you can use CAC wherever you want in the rest of the document.
Right. Well, you could do that right off the bat.
Right.
The first time it's mentioned, yeah.
Although, I think maybe just, I like writing out commission because that way it's,
Yeah, I think that's fine for us. I mean,
because I
that's
think,
for them. That's not for us, yeah.
but I think because we're distinguishing the committee chair and the commission chair.
Right,
And we're the committee of the commission, so we're the committee of the CACs, that word kind of applies to both of us. The committee. I'm just going through and adding committee chair in front of
right.
every time. Committee
So
chair.
like this 9B, absent extraordinary cause, the chair will announce any change to the committee meeting date. So the chair, is that you the chair or the commission
Committee
chair?
chair.
Okay. Okay, I hear committee chair.
Committee chair.
I just went through it, I'm just saying through every chair, and I put, every time I'm just saying committee chair and commission chair,
Which body you're talking about?
unless we say, unless there was within the content, the sentence, it's absolutely
right.
clear.
Yeah.
Like we're saying, the chair of the commission, or the chair and vice chair of the commission, but let me go through here. On the commission chair. One definition I added in here was district commissioner.
Okay.
Because I figured that was important, because what I meant by district commissioner was the commissioner for where the property was.
Right.
And that, it seemed ridiculous to repeat that over and over again.
Is that was that what's going on in 13A?
Yeah,
I flagged that as being erroneous.
That just came out as like parentheses quote.
right.
Oh, we're-
District
Commissioner,
commissioner.
parentheses.
Where the property is district commissioner.
Yeah,
Where do you think that district commissioner?
13A.
13.
Where should district commissioner go?
The way it came across in the document that was sent out was this. Read like that.
Email it to the commission chair and the commissioner for the district where the property is located. Maybe I should say is located, would that work? That work better? Is located?
Yeah,
So email it to the commission chair and the commissioner for the district where the property is located, quote unquote, district commissioner.
right.
Because the point of that is I try not I don't want to, if we're dealing with, commissioners should have, at least know what's going on.
Wait a second here, though, I'm really lost here. 13A, shouldn't district commissioner follow commissioner, if that's what you're trying to?
Because it's not
Oh,
just.
both of them are getting this email, the commission chair. Oh, no, you're right.
And I think there are
And the
two
district
people,
commissioner.
there's two people, the commissioner, and then there's the commission, there's the commission chair, and then the commissioner for the district where the property is located. Those are the two in that second line, second set, district where the and the second set of words, the commissioner for the district where the property is located. That's what I mean by.
Right, well, what if you said email it to the commission chair and the district commissioner?
And
Flip
then put in
Or
parentheses
the
after
district
that.
where the property is,
Yes.
period.
That's
Yeah.
fixing
And
it.
the district, and the district,
Because you feel
Commission
like there's
property
another
is
commissioner in
period.
here, that there are three people we're talking
the
about.
commissioner for the district. where the
Or
property-
the district commissioner's property.
And the district commissioner for
For
where the
where the
property
property is
is.
located.
Email,
the property
email
in
it to the
question.
commission chair and the district commissioner, comma, the commissioner for the, which, the problem is what I was trying to do there is define the
I
term
know.
district commissioner, and I don't think, the way I.
Well, I think if you say district commissioner in parentheses,
Yeah, I think it's
commissioner for the district where the property is located.
I think it still applies if you
Right.
follow that.
Then I think that makes more sense.
Yeah. You can put an IE or.
But the way this, email it to the commission chair and district commissioner is capitalized D, capitalized C.
Right,
Then in parentheses, the commissioner for the district where the property is located,
Yes.
semicolon.
Very good.
better.
I am going through and adding committee chair, where I did a search for the word chair. I'm going through and just, adding committee chair words. And where I often just had.
Is that the case with every time you use chair, is you
Yes.
mean committee chair and not
Yes,
CAC, right?
Or I think,
I think where he was referring to
Because what down
chair
here
of
it says
CAC,
commission,
he used the commission chair phrase as opposed to just chair.
yeah.
well, 16
Yeah, it
has
does
committee
mention
chair
committee
and
chair,
commission
yeah.
chair.
Well, that's what I said, 16 now it says if the committee chair, commission chair, or district commissioner
Okay.
determine.
All
And then in the next line, it said, instead of saying the chair will publicize, I say the committee chair will
Got it.
publicize. So every time, and maybe what we can do is I can just bring,
Anywhere there's chair, we should qualify it with committee or
Or
commission.
commission. Yes,
and I'm putting, and maybe what we can do is at the end, let everyone go through what I have here and see if they, committee chair. I'm on K of that long list right now. Trying to make a motion, the vice chair, we don't need to, there is. Do we need to see if the committee's vice chair, because I think it's clear. Okay, I'm not the last line. Committee chair. Okay. I can go through, I can tell you where I put committee chair, I put committee chair in, I added that to, in paragraph 3 twice.
all right,
I added it to the chair and vice chair of the commission, I added it to 6 a bunch of times.
right.
I added it to 7, and every time chair was mentioned in 6, I mentioned it for committee before. And the next time I missed one. And in 7, I wrote the committee chair can waive any of these rules with the consent of the commission chair. The committee chair will disclose any waiver at the next meeting with the committee or commission, whichever comes first. The committee chair discloses the waiver at the committee meeting, it will be noted in the minutes. And I added that section because we've always done that. And by the way, just the waiver, the last time I remember using the waiver is when, I think I messed up getting the mailing notices out, and I called up the commission chair and said, if I just hand deliver these over the weekend, will that count? Will that be good enough? They agreed, so we waived the 7-day mailing rule and allowed, because they were being hand delivered. That's how we've used that.
What kind of mechanism do you have at the commission meeting to disclose the waiver?
I do a presentation, it'd be my presentation.
Is it standing on the agenda?
Yes, we stand, anytime there's a variance, that's at the very end of the last paragraph says I present, that it's the committee's chair's job to present the committee's decision to the commission.
Got it.
And I guess if I'm not there, then, I guess if there's a waiver, I guess I just have to go or disclose it in writing or something like that. But we've never hidden them, but we know, but I think it's good it's good to set a rule.
Sure.
Let's see, absent extraordinary, I put in 9B and B, C, and D, I put committee chair in each of those, add committee to each of those.
Okay.
I added committee to paragraph 13 twice, to paragraph 14 once, to paragraph 15 a whole bunch of times,
Right.
4 times, to paragraph 16, I added it once, paragraph 17 twice, to paragraph 18 once. Mainly, then in 20, I did 20D, 20E, 20F, G, K, and 21, paragraph 21 now. Do I have other changes that people?
Number 4, what does that mean exactly?
That's because the city attorney's office got concerned, there's some controversy in some other, this is from the city attorney's office.
Okay.
There's a controversy in some other area commission where on a committee they had combined commissioners and committee members. And all of a sudden one commissioner, the commissioner I guess didn't like the results, said, well, the committee members' vote shouldn't count because they're not on the commission. And so the city attorney said that they wanted in the bylaws of each group that designated committee members could vote, have full voting rights at the committee. And that's just to avoid that problem. And technically, I don't think we need to put it in here because it's in the bylaws,
Right.
but
That's just,
it's,
okay.
there's just, that way there's no, I guess, we could probably delete it because the bylaws control over the rules.
Right.
But it gives clarity.
Because
It gives,
The redundancy doesn't hurt
it's,
anything.
the redundancy doesn't hurt anything, it's just,
that's why, that's,
I just
No,
never
that's-
saw anything like that before.
no, that is weird, you're right. And it's,
Okay.
and whether that's, and
If the
what
city attorney says,
the city,
attorney says.
that's one of the hardest parts about my job is my day job is proving why prosecutors are wrong. And here I just have to trust the prosecutor.
As long as we're clarifying though, shouldn't it say something like, despite committee members not being members of the commission, committee members can vote on committee matters?
Because it makes it sound like
It sounds, I read it in
they are
reverse the
members
first
of the
time.
commission.
The committee members
You're
may
not.
participate and vote on committee vote on committee matters.
How about matters before the committee?
Matters
Before the committee.
Yeah.
You're right, that's right, because that way if it's, because you're, even though these rules can't change what happens in the commission, you're right. So now it says 4 reads, committee members may participate and vote on matters before the committee, even if they are not members of the commission.
That'll work.
Just, you know, these whole, I was really happy to have these procedures because they made things a lot easier.
Oh, for sure.
And they also were great for someone who's procrastinating to avoid, so that my procrastination ended a week or so before the commission's meeting instead of a few days before.
Can I ask a question about the last sentence of paragraph 14? Is that stated in the screening form that if they choose not to fill it out, it could negatively impact the review of their application?
No, it isn't, but I tell them that and I send them this rule in the initial thing. But part of the reason I put that in there is I didn't want someone saying, well, you didn't submit the screening form, therefore we have to vote against you. And but the idea of that is if someone on the committee thinks there's information in that screening form that you didn't give me that I wanted to have, you can use that. You can say, I'm sorry, you didn't give me the information I needed. But you're right. That's the reason why I have it. It's a warning to them. I try to give applicants warnings of pitfalls, And that screening form is very important to some members of the committee and some members of the commission. And I want them to understand that and not to treat it lightly. But that's why.
But it's not a technical part of the zoning application.
No, it
Can
is.
we require it if it's not a legal part of the zoning application?
The commission wants it. I think we're told, and I think the commission, I wouldn't do it without the commission saying they wanted it. But I think we can't. Technically, we're not requiring it because we're saying if you don't do it, it's just, this is information.
We won't hear your case, right?
But you're right. I don't know if we.
It's not a legal part of the application.
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
It is a requirement from the commission.
The commission,
Requirement.
the commission sent that down to us. They really, if they ever decide they don't want it. Here's the thing is, I would rather push them to have it, because if the commission is gonna say, the commission can say no for pretty much any reason it wants. And if they're saying there's information in that screening form we want.
How can the commission require it if it's not a legal part of the submission?
You know, the city attorney has never told us they can't. And I think that the commission can, it's basically the way, the way I look at it is the commission, we ask questions that aren't legally part of the application all the time.
Sure.
And this is asking the questions in writing in advance and gives them a chance to think about it.
I think it's a way to solicit more information, which is good, but my issue is like saying that somebody could vote solely because somebody didn't fill out that form.
And I guess that my,
Kind of makes it blind, doesn't it?
Yeah.
although the reality is that we can. And you can't, and I'm not picking on Andrea, because if Andrea says, this form is important to me, there's the third question you didn't answer, you could have come here with an answer, you didn't come here with an answer. I'm voting no because you didn't give me that information I wanted that we told you about in advance.
I think the other thing to keep in mind is that we're an advisory body, so our votes aren't legally binding. So,
Yeah.
nor is the commission. So we can ask questions that potentially city council couldn't, or require things that city council doesn't.
And if they want to go to the BZA or city council and say, they voted no because of they voted no because of that, and the city council thinks that's a dumb thing to require, city council, that can be used against, they can use this against it. That's also part of why I like having people explain their positions, there's the plus and the minus. The plus is, I want to make sure everyone here's opinion gets to the commission, whether they're in the minority or majority, because the commission can go either way. But on the flip side, the applicant can say, look at those 5 people. They said they didn't vote for this variance because they didn't like what our owner did on their vacations. Jimmy John's, for example. That wasn't the committee, that was the commission. And then they can go and say, that's a dumb reason, you shouldn't take them. There is a change. The commission is the official voice of the community to BZA. It's advisory, but it does have an official status. When the hookah lounge went to BZA and 3 people wrote in saying they opposed it, but the commission already supported it. BZA is going to look at that and say, we got 3 emails opposed, but the full commission supported. But this is the voice of the community. So and we are not the voice of the community.
I'm trying to remember why we ended up doing, what was the impetus for making that screening form. I sat on that, I did that for 2 years, I made those, I helped draft those screening forms, but I don't remember how it started.
How about do you find the screening forms useful?
Yes.
Yes.
But we don't get very many. You know, when you really look at applications, we don't see a lot of those screening forms.
I mean, any information that we get is helpful.
Like,
So, yes, they're good, but we can also solicit additional information.
exactly, because
from
we're
while
sitting
they're
here with them, yeah.
And also look at, the way I present it to the applicants in the intro email, which, by the way, I came up with the standard intro email because I was giving different applicants different information depending on how busy I was at the time. And I figured that wasn't the best way of doing it. But I see that's also their chance to focus on the neighborhood plan in a way that I think helps their applications long-term. And like for an 18-foot garage, maybe it doesn't make a difference, but for a lot of plans, people can look at that and think, oh, wow, I can now argue on page 37 of the neighborhood plan. Or they can be aware that there's a problem there.
Yeah, I hear you, and that makes a lot of sense. I'm partly convinced. I just like, as somebody who's done a zoning variance, like this is like an arduous, very lengthy thing, and so you're adding another layer on top of it, and often the people in front of us are not lawyers, they're just trying to, you know, build a garage or something. So like, asking somebody to read that really lengthy plan, which like is important, but it's like dry, like, so, I mean, it's just asking our neighbors to do a lot.
When we were putting together that screening form, that was one of the things we were trying to consider is hardly anyone's gonna go to the neighborhood plan. That's why we would put the lines in there, what the neighborhood plan says. And if you're just doing something like a garage, which we see all the time, most of the questions on that screening form you can say not applicable. So it's, for some, it's a layer of serious extra stuff. But for most of the cases that we see of regular neighbors, it shouldn't be that big a deal, but I don't know.
I think the screening form was designed to help the
I
applicant
think you're right.
through the
Unfortunately.
process,
Yes.
not be a
To
hindrance,
understand.
so that they could like make reference and familiarize themselves before they come here.
And know
Instead of
what
us
the
going like,
questions were.
well, did you know in the neighborhood plan that da 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 da?
Yeah.
Because it was meant as a tool to help them.
Right, and to anticipate some of the questions they may.
That's also why we always say, look, please email it to us in advance, but if you don't, bring copies.
Right.
And it's the idea, I don't think we've ever dinged anyone for form. We just want to, but you're right, we can't ask the commission to look at that and say, look, if you don't use these forms,
And just,
then don't.
don't worry that it was 2 years of my life
Yeah.
at this table.
But you're only 28.
But I think some of that is that I do try to tell, and that's a question I get a lot from applicants. You can say not applicable. If it really doesn't apply, this is a guide, this isn't a test. I do say, this is your opportunity
That's a better way to put it, yeah.
to explain how your project fits within the neighborhood plan. But I think that's also something, if someone comes in with what might be a deficient form, then you can always tell, we can try to assuage them by saying,
I concede, it's fine.
no.
You have valid arguments, I understand.
That's it, no.
So do you.
No, I think you're very right. In a lot of the applications we get, that form is overkill. I mean, it's a garage.
Yeah.
How does it impact?
Right.
Some of these things are in place for some of the bigger applications that we get, the more the commercial developments, those kind of things.
That's why they're two separate screening forms.
But
One's for
even like-
commercial, one's for residential.
Even like a garage or an office over a garage, people might want to be able to look at the neighborhood plan and see what's there. But no, thank you for the concern. That's exactly why we're having this meeting, why I'm also really glad we're not doing this on the Columbia Gas night. Because imagine doing this after just spending 2 hours listening to the Columbia Gas, which I think is gonna be next month with one other one, but I can't be 100%
So you
certain.
know, this a meeting procedure and decisions, I think is absolutely wonderful. It should be on the back side of every agenda that we hand out to the people who come here.
I
I
agree.
think there's one thing I would make a comment on the process in that meeting decisions is, I think, starting with item K, the chair shall make a motion to the application be approved.
H through K are new proposals.
That, you really usually ask for somebody to make a motion to approve it. You don't
And I took that,
usually make a motion to say, should it be approved?
and I thought maybe that might just be a way to get things started without having to go through it. Shall it be approved? And then if someone doesn't like, that's what the commission does. That's what the commission bylaw says. It goes before the commission, it doesn't need a second because it's a committee report. This is saying, well, why don't we just do it that way? Then you can amend it if you don't like it, you want to change it. But I thought That way we don't have the same thing. Every time we start, someone says, do you want to divide these up? Do you want to not divide it up? It creates a starting point that people can move on for. Then if someone wants to file a motion to amend it, fine. But that way,
I flag this item too, because it looks like it gives the chair unilateral, I don't know, ability to just bypass the committee. Because I read that as taking the vote.
no, it says that's just the motion. No second is required for the motion.
If the motion's approved, then there's discussion after.
The other item that's missing in between there is
Yeah,
there's
the
a
discussion.
discussion, a committee discussion item between K and L.
No, yes.
There should be a committee discussion
Yeah.
item between
But
there.
I can't put that on there. The reason I didn't, that's normal Robert's rules is when the motion is on the table, you can discuss.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
that's why I
always
just,
do.
Well, you know what,
we put that in.
if we're gonna hand out the rules to the people coming here, they might not know Robert's Rules of Order, so let's, think about what they understand. And so, I think breaking it out and putting in a separate line for committee discussion and then voting, so that they understand what's going on. Because not everyone knows Robert's Rules.
I'm trying to think though, just, right, because it does get technical when you get into, there's a motion on the table, and then you can then you can put their point of orders and.
I would put it in layman's terms as much as I can.
I'm trying to think though, because there are things that are not, under Robert's rules, that aren't discussable. I think motion to table might be one of those, and that's certainly you can discuss. There are some things that aren't discussable.
But you can't put it in layman's terms and then enforce Robert's rules.
Right.
But because these rules supplant Robert's rule. Robert's rules only apply to the extent that the city code comes first, commission bylaws come second, rules come third, Robert rules come only after that. So if anything in these rules conflict with Robert's rules, these control. That's,
So we can supersede Robert's Rules
Yes.
whenever we want.
yes.
They should.
With the rules can do that. So if the commission agrees with this. If there's something you think that Robert's rules doesn't make sense, then that's perfectly reasonable to put it. That's what these rules are for. And that's also things like one thing we put here that the no tabling without the applicant's consent, that's completely against Robert's rules.
Right.
But the idea, there are two thoughts in that. One is the applicants should get a yes. I always believe the applicant's entitled to a yes or a no if they want one. If we don't think they're ready, we can vote no. It's also because we're not commissioners. I don't think the committee should stop the commission from voting on something by tabling it without the applicant's position, which is what tabling would allow us to do. And
We've always left that to the applicant to table or not, because they can usually read the room, this is going down in flames, I probably need to table it. So that's always been the policy, and that's wise, I think.
If you want, the committee chair will make a motion.
But I think putting the part about having, then opening the table to discussion needs to be in there, because that's what happens now.
When a motion to approve it is on the table, committee
Members will discuss.
members may discuss the issue. May discuss, or ask questions, or ask questions to anyone.
Where's your camera?
Uh-oh.
They want their camera.
That's super fun on you.
Say something.
Action.
We're
Somebody-
sorry.
Here. Yeah, this is how
It's
you,
still tilted.
yeah, you have to,
Oh, there we go. That's not too bad.
Does it seem like it's too tilted though?
Yeah, go again.
the city didn't,
I thought a bird hit the
Perpendicular to its base.
the city didn't bias the world's greatest treasure.
On the
Let
record
him hear
now.
you say
Now
it.
as a matter of record.
Now a matter of record.
They're entitled to feedback.
He said that, and it's going again. It's going again. I see it. It's going again.
Yeah, push it.
I've
Oh,
never,
There, that's
yeah,
perfect.
there you
That
go.
shouldn't go, is it tightened up now?
I just need to make sure that
You
it's.
watch it.
It's the most exciting we had a meeting.
What were we doing, asking something before we got here?
We were asking, in between, K and L,
Oh, between K and L.
where there should be an item for discussion and questions.
And I'm making it, it's the new L. When a motion to approve is on the table, committee members may discuss or ask questions to anyone in the room.
There you go, perfect, yeah.
When voted, then M would be when voting committee members may make a brief explanation of their vote, which will be summarized in the minutes. And that's it is important to give committee members a direct line to the commission. No motion, yeah, we still have the same thing as before. You want me to go through the does anyone else have proposed changes, by the way?
I had one question.
Yeah.
Do we typically meet at 7 or 7:30?
7, does it say 7:30?
It says 7:30.
That's important to me.
I thought it might
Oh, no.
be simple, but important.
No, I think that's,
Where is that?
that's 9A.
9:00, okay, so that's the committee meets at
Yeah.
7:30.
That's all that when I had young kids.
We used to have 7.
Okay,
That's partly because I was, at least I had
You
young
put
kids
into
who liked
that
to go
first.
Yes. I
I
could get my
remember
kids.
that.
I got out of that.
And you went back to
But
7.
the other thing I did here is, well, let's go back to the beginning. Let's see, I said, I added treating everyone with respect because I thought that was just, I thought that was important to say. And I thought opportunity was a better word than chance.
Yes.
The gamble of the committee.
Yeah, let's see, and subject change 7, in 7, I put an official disclosure of any waiver of the rules. So that was again, no hiding.
Right.
9, instead of doing a description of when we meet, I thought, why don't we just list the darn dates?
Right.
And some of those were different, some of those were not, some of those were changed, are not what the normal date would be because it's to avoid Thanksgiving or
Right.
Christmas. So I thought, why not just list them, absent, let's see, I think I added absent extraordinary cause. Any chair will announce any change in the date. Let's see, and I deleted the Wednesday that is 8 days before the CAC's regularly scheduled meeting.
I have a question.
Yes.
Since you're listing all of the dates for 2024 and the start of 2025, does that mean that we'll update this again?
Yeah, yes, and that's why I also went through March, which is a couple meeting, which is an additional meeting into the next committee's schedule, because that way, if no one amends these, because you're supposed to amend these, to look at these and have these approved every year.
Then if that's the case, then yeah.
But I gave it an extra month because I figured that why not, in case there's some issue.
That
And
makes sense.
if not, then, and after that, we'll just, everything would have to be a special meeting until you got, oh, I see a type of committee with 1 T. The committee is D is not new, is D new or not, I can't remember. D, the committee chair will give us prompt notice as possible any special meeting or any change to the meeting time or location. So I don't think that's new. Oh, I know I changed, I did add to that, and to any person charged with communications for the commission. I just, because they don't, that's been the chair of the technology committee. I figured why not just say the person charged with communications for the commission. I try to make that consistent throughout, because that way, I guess we could create a definition one place and move it, but it wasn't that often added. Let's say put a typo.
I think it should be, the D person charged with communications, otherwise if there's.
Where is it?
D, 9D,
D.
you said you added any person charged with
The
communications.
person. The person charged with communications for the commission. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see, what did I say? I did some changes in paragraph 15. as when the committee chair receives an application for the waiver of the waiting period of the demolition period, and where the waiver has not been approved pursuant to the commission's bylaws for residential accessory buildings. But that's what that is for the new people. One thing you have to do is demolition permit waivers, because there's a 60-day waiting period when you file a demo permit, but the commission can waive it. There's an exception to that, which is if it's a residential accessory building, which usually means it's attached garage, not always, but almost. If the committee chair, commission chair, and the commissioner for the district agree, then it's deemed waived. And there's a special provision in city code that allows that. The two separate city attorney administrations have now approved that. It's fun at the last meeting, one of the commission meetings, someone from the city said, "How can you do that?" And I pulled up my email from the city attorney's office in like 2017 and read it to them and said, "This person sent it to me on this date at this time, and it was this person's name."
Where it says the chair is not required to mail notices to neighbors of the property, is that because the city notifies them?
No, it's partly because these things can go fast, and first of all, we don't get labels, so I don't.
Oh, this is just for demolition.
This is just for demolition,
Okay.
and that's just to make clear that we have. Actually, same thing on here. Committee chair sees an application for waiver of demolition period. Yeah, I just wanted to put that. I wanted to make that go quicker. Part of the problem is when you don't, since this is a 60-day waiting period. If someone just misses a deadline, then all of a sudden it's like 2 weeks is left by the time it gets through all the meetings. So that's the idea, is to make it go quickly. And we do have a designated someone. I'll have to check who that is. Someone from the Historical Society. We always try to let know what's going on. To the person charged with communications for the commission instead of any. I saw the chair, the technology committee to charge the commissions. There's a typo with 2 ands took place. And we just went through the provisions in 20, we have a bunch of things added between what used to be G and H. This. If you went through, I can reread those if you'd like. It says H is now, committee members may make additional questions to anyone present. The district commissioner may make additional comments. If the applicant has made any changes to the most recent written application submitted before the meeting, the applicant will specify those changes. The committee chair will make a motion. Will the application be approved? No second is required. Any committee member may seek to amend the notice. The committee may vote on portions of the application separately. And I thought, since I was taking the initiative away, I needed to leave in the ability to change that. That just seemed to be make things move more smoothly, get everyone to the same place. When a motion to approve is on the table, committee members may discuss or ask questions to anyone in the room. That's good to put in there, because normally Robert's rules would not allow you to ask questions to someone in the room in a discussion. I changed to the person charged with communications for the commission instead of commission's communication person. I think that's it then, the committee chair.
I think the only one that I had in here that we'd run into in the last year was where here does it really explicitly state that we need a quorum to meet?
I think,
Is that a Robert's Rules thing, and that's where you're inferring that from?
I believe so. I thought that, I didn't bring my Robert's Rules book with me. I'm pretty sure it says that's the majority.
But our quorum is 5, correct?
Right.
Do we need to say that? Our committee is 4, our quorum is 5?
We haven't run into it very often. It's only happened once that I can really remember that we've had that issue, but it doesn't explicitly state it here.
I just see some Robert's rule.
I think also too, if we wanna put it in there, I don't think it should be a fixed number. I think it
Yes,
should be a
I-
percentage of the total,
I would agree
in
with
case like a couple committee members drop off, then.
Well,
According to
you know,
Robert,
The term quorum means just the majority.
The majority.
Yeah, so.
Oh, here's what it is.
I
The
just don't
12
want a quorum of 5.
According, this is what Google
Of course.
says. Google says, and I've not, but this is my recollection of what Robert says. Robert's Rules of Order, under the quorum is the minimum number of voting members must be present in meeting business. The 12th edition of Robert's Rules defines a quorum as a majority of members.
Okay.
So that's
50% plus one of them.
And I think we're covered that it says we're operating under Robert's rules for the most part, unless otherwise.
Yes. No, but that's good.
There was nothing in the rules explicitly stating that, and we were delaying the meeting because of that, and I wanted to just clarify.
Yeah, so that's a Robert's Rules thing, and and the entire time I've been doing this once, and I guess that's reasonable to have happen every now and then, especially since one of the reasons is you didn't want to infect people with COVID.
Yeah, I know, I didn't want to.
Selfish me.
And you had to,
I
I
had a concert and then I got COVID.
yeah,
I think I got it at the concert.
and it was a concert that you scheduled to avoid these committee meetings,
Exactly.
but that got rescheduled, got canceled and
They
rescheduled.
canceled it in November and rescheduled it for our meeting in January. Like, dang. And then you moved it to February, right?
Yeah, we moved it to just before the commission.
And that's when I got sick.
And I think that's maybe another example of waivers that
Yeah.
we had discussed with the committee, with the commissioner, and also got the district commissioners. The other thing is you don't mess with the district commissioner's district without talking to them. And she approved, and she was fine with that. And then, that ended up working out. By the way, that got approved by a vote of either 3-1 or 4-1 at BZA.
Which one?
The hookah lounge. The parking variance.
Yeah.
Just any
Not
other
the hookah
comments
part.
on this?
Just
That
the
wasn't
parking
on the,
part.
that was not.
That is not part of the
application.
Does anyone want to go through to look at what I have here? Do you find it?
I think just recirculating what would be enough.
Yes.
And we can vote on this. We vote on this, and if you say that I got something wrong, that's what the minutes are for. And if we're not certain, we can these are recommended to the commission. The commission sets our rules, so
Right.
it's not official till they vote for it anyway. So if you think I got something wrong, let me know. And if there's probably not going to be time to vote on it again, but I'll present it to the commission as this is someone's recollection that came out differently. But please look at it carefully when you get it to make sure that I got everything right. With the changes that we made, do I have a motion to approve recommending these rules to the commission?
I moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So it's approved unanimously by vote of 8-0. And I will circulate, I'll send a final version to Michael, so that I'll do that tonight. Attach the minutes. And let's see, what else do we, by the way, I never said welcome to the new members.
Right.
You
did.
Why don't you give your name and why don't we just go, I'll start and then we. I'm Steve Hardwick, I'm the chair of the committee. My day job is I'm an assistant public defender and I do felony appeals for the most part. And I live just down the street.
I'm Mike McLaughlin, I'm a real estate agent, and I live in District 1.
I'm Andrea Purnell. I'm a senior project manager in commercial construction.
I'm Gretchen West. I develop affordable housing for Nationwide Children's Hospital, and I live on Clinton Heights.
Diane Hayford, I'm retired teacher. Been on this committee for 102 years.
Oh, wow.
But she's only
I've been
28.
District 5, sorry,
I said, but you're only 28.
but I'm only 20.
Right.
New man.
There you go. I'm Jason Advani. I'm a professional engineer. I work for an environmental engineering consulting company. I live over in Longview Avenue, East Longview Avenue in District 3.
Doug Boyer. I live at 81 East Torrance, so just half block down from Starbucks. You laugh.
Yeah, I do.
You know what that means?
Yes, I do.
I'm a landscape architect, specialize in parks and recreation.
I'm Michael Hawk. I'm a controls and automation engineer, and I live in District 2 on Brighton.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We just check, see if there's one other,
Can I ask something?
yes.
Okay, so I asked Steve about this last time at the commission meeting, and part of it goes back to that training that we had with the city on when we were here that hour earlier. I was kind of surprised by some of the answers that we got. And I know that the new zoning law that's waiting to be approved, I think it's done, but is the waiting to approve it?
I think they said they were gonna present in April, I want to say.
Right, okay, but I have a sense that it's going towards a higher density, and I keep going back to the city in 43202 Clintonville, that one parcel, 2 units, or one parcel, 1 building, 2 units is the same as 1 parcel, 2 buildings, 2 units. And so I know that also too on the commercial district or strip, they're looking to simplify the zoning, everything like that. And I think as a community, that the commission, I would want the commission to put some guardrails on this a little bit. You know, if they want to knock down the hookah lounge and put up a 6-story residential building, fine, do it. If they want to do it at North Star, fine, do it. But our green district is a green district, and I think it should be preserved, you know? And when you start putting in second buildings on the parcels of 43202, I think like corner lots are, it's easier to do on corner lots. Like Mike's lot, I mean, it would be easy, you know, you got a deep lot there on Brighton, you could actually put a carriage house back there, create a second living unit if you wanted to. I think in my neighborhood on Crestview, a lot is 25 foot wide, and there's some houses on 20 foot wide lots. A lot of them are on 37 and a half. But the 50 foot wide lots, the double lots that we call down there, that might be more conducive, that they typically have a drive and stuff like that. And I just think, you know, as a community, it might be better for us to be proactive about like, okay, as we increase density, what guardrails do we want in place? And I was thinking about writing a letter to the commissioners about this versus going to a meeting, just writing an email, you know, these are my thoughts, you know, stuff like that. Or maybe we could, as a committee, send a suggestion to the commission that, you know, maybe they should look at that. And if they want us to look at it, we could do discussion. Maybe it's a topic for planning and development, or maybe they want to do a task force. But I think it's coming our way, and we should be in front of it instead of behind it.
Have we seen anything related to the new zoning plan? That's the April date.
No, all we've heard is
I mean, it's safe to say that it's
you know,
updating
density
things, yeah, of
and
course.
height, that height restrictions would be different.
I thought the first phase was purely commercial corridors.
It was High Street and Broad Street, I want to say. I mean, they're using the commercial,
Yeah,
there are
so I
several
don't
big
think they're
commercial streets in
making
Columbus, but we're in one of them. So
I don't think they're making ADUs buildable by right in this next zoning change.
Okay.
I think it's purely meant to make it easier to develop multi-scale buildings on commercial corridors.
Is there a draft?
No, that's what's
Again,
coming in April.
That's
April
what's
is-
supposed to be
April
coming
is
in
the first
April.
release of any of the new recommendations from the city as far as.
So maybe we should see the draft first. No, I
think you could always presume, I think there's a lot we can presume that's probably gonna be in the draft.
Right.
That we could get ahead of it, we could always change it once the draft comes out if we don't have.
I mean, I just don't, as a committee, or even as a commission, I don't think we should be on the wrong side of government. And if government is saying that like mother-in-law suites are okay in 43202, we gotta quit not approving them. Did I say that right? We gotta start approving them, because we know that the city's gonna approve them and you're on board with it. I mean, my jaw dropped at that training going like, what, are you serious?
Well, until it's part of
Until-
until it's part of code, we
Right.
still have to go through the same process.
But what we're
Until it's
dealing with
officially
is what
adopted.
it is, yeah.
Right.
Until they change it,
So some
I'm
of
going to, I feel justified in saying not yet.
But they come back in a couple
But-
months.
Yes, and I probably, that'll
Well,
be
that isn't fair
my,
to
my
the applicant,
downshift
you
then.
know. Right. I don't know, just, it's something that doesn't have to be decided tonight, but I don't know how much the sitting commissioners, and they got 3 new ones and everything like that, are up to speed on what's coming. And again, as a community, I think our rails should be in place.
Well, at least Drew should be up to speed.
Right, right.
In my
That's true.
experience,
He's heard
many
enough
of
of it.
the city council members are very much up to speed on this and are pushing it.
City council members or commissioners?
City
Council.
council.
Yeah. And I'm for it too, it's just, you
But
gotta
you're right, you have to have
increase
the
density
guardrails.
smartly,
You
you
have
know,
to do it.
don't take away our green district.
Right.
I'll tie myself to a tree. I just said that on camera.
There is the new improved tree code.
Yes,
That's pretty stringent.
Yes.
yes.
The public trees, for public trees.
they don't bring you water.
Okay, cool, thank you.
There was talk of changes to the tree code for private property as well,
I heard
Following.
about that, yeah.
but that has not been approved yet.
And I've different, one thing I would like the commission, it'd be nice for the commission to do is give some guidance on, look, what do you really want in garage variances? What do you, because if part of why I think they should make these changes is whether these get approved really depends on who shows up at the commission meeting and who gets on, who happens to be on the commission at the time, whether neighbors get particularly upset about it, and who comes to the commission meetings. So you could have something that would be a 5-4 vote turn out to be, against could be a 4-3 vote in favor, depending on who shows up at the meeting or who, and that's just the nature of human beings, but it's, seems awfully arbitrary to tell, when you're telling people to deal with their own property and then saying, or what, yeah, and then having it depend on who shows up.
But Mike, you're right, with the commission, there are a lot of new commissioners and there's not a lot of people left on their institutional memory that help you through negotiating some of these tough things that are coming along.
One of the things I was talking to one of the commissioners about is, like the parking variances, we all have our gut feeling on High Street. I think there's plenty of parking there. And some people think that there's none. And we have all these parking rules are what, they're 50 years old, based on things that having 50 years, and how does that fit? And they're based on, they're citywide, so like the hookah lounge proposing that it's how do you apply them to a business on High Street of something that didn't exist 50 years ago in Columbus, that caters mainly to college students and young people. How much parking do they really need? And we're all just spitballing it. And it'd be nice if the city could give us some help on it. And people come in and say, well, you're giving away this parking. Well, there's still no one parking. There's still lots of empty spaces. And what do you mean by not enough parking? If you have a house a block from High Street and all of a sudden they have cars in front of their house 18 hours a day where they didn't have them before, is that a problem, or is that a good use of space? Is it an invasion of their space, or is it a good use of public street space? That's a policy decision. It'd be nice to see if the commission gave us some guidance, it would be helpful.
Very.
But no, I don't think how we would present that to the commission. So do you have questions of consistency you would like to send to us to vet and then send to them for a recommendation? Or do they want to have city officials come talk? The problem is their meetings is they have 2 hours, and zoning is one of 20 different things they have going on.
That's why I was thinking maybe a letter from this committee to them,
They would have time to digest it.
They would have time to digest it and stuff like that. And again, if they want to proceed, they can either do a task force, they can give it to planning and development, or they could throw it to us to come up with recommendations, to come up with these guardrails that we think the community would benefit from.
You're right, some ways it does sound like a planning and development, saying, yes, planning and development, can you come up with some guidelines for what you think we should do?
Eventually, I think it would be a good ad hoc committee to combine our committee and
Because
people
we
from our
might know
committee
more
and people
about
from their
zoning
committee
and I know about.
to do it together.
I mean,
Because they have their perspective and we certainly have ours.
Consistent.
kind of the way I view the difference between the two committees is the zoning committee here is here to enforce the rules that exist.
Mhm.
Planning and development would be there to talk about things we would like to see happen.
Mhm.
So I think you're right, it's a combination of the two
Right.
committees getting together with input from the community of what would we like to see as far as how we're moving forward with these new recommendations and a code from the city for density. But it shouldn't be us saying, hey, you've got to do this, because that's,
Yeah.
we're more here to actually interpret the code as it exists and the exceptions to that we're
I
approving.
like the ad hoc and public meetings.
Yeah,
get
because I'm trying to
community
remember
buy-in.
which, I don't think it was the screening forum, but there was some other committee, ad hoc committee I sat on that I was representing this committee. Do you remember what it was, Stephen? And planning had representatives as well. But else we worked together on. I
Maybe
don't
the
know.
screening form, is that the screening?
It must have been.
But it might just be, Michael and I disagree on, the view of variances, and my always thought of it's the property owner, we should have a good reason not to tell them, don't do that with your own property.
Right.
And his position is valid, and that's also part of why, at the end of the meetings, we list our reasons, so that his reasons get before the commission and my reasons get there, and then they can decide what they wanna do. But I think it is fair. My biggest concern is consistency and fairness, and it shouldn't depend on whether someone is well-liked, it shouldn't depend on who shows up at the meeting, who happened to show up at that
Or
meeting.
if they did the screening forum. It's just a fact.
But even the screening form issue, if you request
tool.
information and they didn't give it to you, that to me seems like more objective use than saying, I think 24-foot garages are just fine, and it's 15-foot garages are ugly and we should have fewer of them.
I mean, that community plan was, what, the 3 public meetings, and I mean, that was a very labor-intensive project. But all the density in that is like almost 20 years old.
Right.
And written at a time when our city was not growing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
didn't have a housing crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it just needs to be an update on the neighborhood plan on the density section.
And so I can see all sorts of contradictions. I was at a meeting of parents, parent advocacies for the school district, and someone's complaining, we want to grow the districts, but we have to keep apartments out.
Well, you
Yeah.
can't do that.
You can't, we're just letting too many developers build apartments, but we need to grow the school district. Well, do you see the contradiction there?
I guess that is a valid point, is now that we've updated zoning code, do we need to go back through and review the neighborhood plan to address
Probably.
those things
Probably,
that are
yeah.
in the new zoning code?
Although, are they gonna change that? But the first plan though is just the corridors, then they have a second wave
Yeah.
coming. What do you know when the second wave is supposed to come?
No.
Are they gonna talk about it for another
Never
5
heard
years?
Probably, yeah. I don't think maybe
But,
less
but
than that.
even
heard
the
from the
corridors
city
greatly
people.
affect the
Hurting
neighborhood.
neighborhoods for what's
Yes.
coming next.
Because
But,
lots of the neighborhood plan addresses the areas along High Street. The green zone you addressed is right along High Street and the library.
The whole plan needs to be redone if they
But-
yeah,
address that.
probably. When was that? I don't remember.
It was 2006, Gronsky. But the city right now, we learned in that training that if they got a request for a mother-in-law suite in 43202, they would be apt to approve it. Now, right? I mean, that's what training.
Yeah, that blew my socks off.
If they're on the record of stating that, I guess I'm not as opposed to coming out and saying that we're opposed to it, because I'm thinking the optics of that looks bad if we're going out there on a limb to saying we don't want something that's not even on the table. But if it's officially on the table, I think maybe it's fair to take a position.
They said that they would approve it.
And they have, haven't they?
They have-
The ADUs that have
Not
come before
aware
us.
of any ADUs they have denied.
Going back how long? Forever?
5 to 7 years.
And I think,
Before
Wes,
all the growth.
Yeah, it's, the ADUs have really only started coming on in the last about 5 years. It's when it's started to become a
Right, right.
consistent thing that we're seeing
More
several
and more.
times a year.
it
It's
should be
like
good to have some
COVID garages.
consistency. in it. I
All
mean,
of a sudden,
I'm from
everybody needed to build a new garage.
I'm in the opinion those are great
With
ways to
office
grow,
space at
have
the top.
slow
I
growth,
mean, it's just like an influx, it was unbelievable.
slow voluntary.
That's good for my own
Another
garage.
realtor was telling me
Story
that
about that.
down in,
Who would have had to come here and yelled at?
I did already.
I can't remember the neighborhood, but the alley behind the houses is a carriage house after carriage house after carriage house after carriage house after carriage house that, you know, in
Where?
other parts of Columbus, I can't, what is, like Fifth and,
Island
East,
Park,
Wyland Park area, and what's, east of that?
Milo Brogan.
Mylan Grove.
That's,
Then in Mylan
Ah.
Brogan, where they're doing a lot of new construction, and yay that they're doing it, but in the alleys, they're putting carriage house after carriage house after carriage
Back
house.
of
I mean, it is coming.
those are apartments then.
Yeah. Well, no, I think there's still,
Condos.
you can buy them, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, but they're livable spaces.
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
Oh, you mean like they're not like office space, they're
Yeah,
sort of.
So there's a
garage,
house on the
right.
street and
Like a little
another
studio on top.
unit on the alley. Just like what we heard in training, that they say, yeah, that's fine.
I don't know if they should have said that. I'm just saying, just saying, I just remember.
And so I
listening to
just
it.
think, you know, again,
You're right.
corner lots, wider lots, it's easier to do. So, guardrails.
Guardrails.
Or just an update of the neighborhood plan when it comes to density.
I think
To
it's-
meet
I think
the new
generally
zoning
that's
laws that have
probably
come
a
out.
good recommendation that we make to the
Right,
CAC
we can do that right now.
and say that, hey, given what we're seeing coming up in the
Right.
zoning code updates, we may need to revisit sections of the neighborhood plan, just so that we have consistency in what we are interpreting, because we use the neighborhood plan heavily in our
Deliberations.
deliberations of the applicant's sites,
And
so.
we don't want to treat the applicant one way and have the city government treat them the other way. I mean, we
Correct.
need, I mean, our job is to like get the best possible application moving forward.
If I can ask a dumb question, is the plan supposed to be reflective of the zoning? Or is the plan supposed to be reflective of the neighborhood? Because Clintonville's been here for however many years it's been, and it is what it is because it's been preserved with good housing stock and good commercial districts and all the great things that Clintonville has. If we just go in and say, oh, zoning's changed, everything's gonna be twice as dense, let's just replace that in the plan, that's not a neighborhood plan anymore.
Well, if you say everything, then that's why I'm saying you put on guardrails, and that's what makes it a neighborhood plan, because it's taking, the new laws and applying it to this area.
I think like we did in the existing neighborhood plan, I mean, High Street was part of the corridor. And yet, in the neighborhood plan, it specifically calls out properties close to the library, saying these should not be developed in the same way the rest of the corridor of High Street is, because that's part of the
Green
character of the neighborhood, that green
zone.
district there. So you're right, in part it reflects the character of the neighborhood and should do that, but we should also, if there are things that we want to preserve in the character of the neighborhood, call that out specifically and say, yes, I know city zoning code now says you can do this, but due to the character of the neighborhood, we don't recommend that you do that in that area. And that's the kind of things we'd have to go and look at the plan and update it for, is that since zoning code has changed, are there things in the plan that now need to be updated and added to make sure we're preserving the character of the neighborhood the way that everyone in
Yeah.
the area would like to see?
And that's why the green zone is still a green zone now, because there were a lot of times in the last 40 years that I've been here that people had other plans for that area, that's right across the street. Big ones. And you're like, wait.
Well, now, they're going to be, because if the plan goes through, the city codifies it, the zoning on that is going to change from residential to commercial. Again, on the corridors, they're making all the zoning the same to make it easier for developers to develop.
Yeah.
And so that's one step closer, and now they don't need a variance to go, or a rezone to go from residential to commercial, it's already been done. So it's easier to knock down those houses and build apartments there and lose that green space. Guardrails, you need guardrails.
You're right. You're right.
Just not everywhere, but just those areas we want to protect.
Well, I think where the neighborhood plan is where it's where the code doesn't really quite fit. It's just a guide for variances.
And that's why the city encouraged neighborhood plans in the first place, because every area commission, I don't think everyone has one, but they encourage them to do it, because you always have your unique little pockets of this is special about here, and we want to preserve it, or we want to change it, whatever.
Did the commission create the plan
Yes.
internally? Fully?
Yes.
Is that the process moving forward?
I think if the
We expect that it'll
commission,
still be the commission.
yes, that would be the commission.
You gotta get in line, because city government worked with you as the plan was developed. So
The
it was like
commission has no
committee,
budget to
the
do
what
an
the
intense
time.
That's what it
engagement
seems awfully
process,
fancy
and,
for
yeah,
just.
they hire a consultant who runs the whole thing.
Yeah.
The commission cannot do it independent of the city of Columbus.
Okay,
It's a big process.
all right.
It's a big, it took a long time,
Yeah.
I remember being on that.
Maybe a
That's
neighborhood
all.
plan is too adventurous, or maybe just internal CAC guidelines, our own, the CAC.
What I remember is we were given information from the city. They had kind of done a mock-up sort of thing. And then we went through and made changes and added what we thought was important and what we didn't. And so it kind of melded together like that, and then it had to be approved, I think, by city council.
In this case, we're not looking at a full development of
No.
the neighborhood plan.
No,
What we're
we
looking
need to
at is just,
Tweak.
yes, updates to sections based on impact of the new zoning codes.
But you would still need a robust community engagement process, because a
Yes.
group of 8 folks
Yeah,
can't decide
right.
for a very large neighborhood.
No argument.
That's exactly where I was gonna go.
Yep.
We don't own it. You know, we gotta get the city and the community and the private consultant on board and change it, I think.
Well, the other thing I remember is when we had public meetings about them, guess how many people showed
Hundreds or zero?
up? Closer to 0 than 100.
My guess is with the change, folks might be more incentivized.
I think it's
Yes.
completely true, yes, that's true.
I think that we were doing this to finally figured out how to get a PDF that just shows our changes, so. Well, do you have any, if that's is there anything you want to take action on that, or do you want to put that? If maybe I could just tell the commission, one thing, we had a lot of concerns, we disagreed on what direction the Clinton bill should take. I think we do have different perspectives, but what I think we all agree on, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that we'd ask the commission for some consistency with things that come up frequently, and those include ADUs, home offices, what else is that, parking variances, garage height variances,
Livable space,
livable space, the kind of things that we see over and over again that
because that's been a moving target
It's
for a long time.
it's been a moving target, and we can all agree or reasonable people can disagree, but I think we should all agree that it shouldn't matter on who shows up at the commission whether 2 people are sick at the commission meeting, and then something gets approved, or 2 votes change so that one person next year gets a yes and someone a month later got a no. That it'd be better. Things aren't going to be entirely consistent, but some consistency is better. And just one last thing, part of the reason why I do these rules is I'm trying to make our review meaningful and not just be a hoop. These are the first rules of any zoning committee in the city of Columbus.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Really?
No one else had everything and I think this is a good thing. they come here, they say, at least we know what's going, what the
Happen.
procedure is.
Yeah.
And lots of places, they just don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, you
That's
do that,
good.
yeah.
Yes.
Scary.
Yeah.
You-
It's
you-
way more organized.
Do you see any places have rules yet? I think,
No. I mean, we're only in front of 2 area commissions, but no, they do not have rules.
I'm not gonna ask you to name.
No name names.
I think someone from Linden has been talking with me, and someone from the south side has been talking about adding rules if they haven't already. But the idea is, I'd like our review to be meaningful and thoughtful, and I don't like being a hoop. Just a hoop that they have to jump through to get things, so.
Flames around it.
And thank you for, we don't have time to just sit down and cogitate
Really
like
do
this.
this, yeah.
This is
Oh,
It was
unusual.
nice. Yeah.
So thank you very much. Do I have any, one last thing, one thing I'd recommend is consider getting is a separate email for committee business, because everything you get from this committee is a public record, and you might be helpful to have a separate Gmail address that's just for committee stuff.
And also about sunshine law,
Oh,
about, you get an email from Stephen about blah, blah, blah. And it's got all of our names on here. If you wanna talk about it, you should probably just answer him,
yeah, we
because
can't,
otherwise we're having a discussion.
yeah, more than, a quorum can't discuss things
Right.
in or outside of a meeting.
So I was trying to be real
And
careful about responding, just.
And you can't get around it by doing it by, like, me talking to her and then saying, well, Gretchen, and then I tell you what Gretchen said, and then,
Yeah.
and the city attorney's best advice, gave really good advice on that, which is, if you're trying to get around the rule, don't.
I think you're always very clear in the emails, is that
Yes.
please reply to me directly,
Please
not.
reply to me directly.
But
But
no, that's
we should know that on our own, yeah.
But that's your discretion. Some people operate fine with their own email address. I'd like to have things separate, because I just find it,
But you get a lot of.
I get a lot more of it, but that's just, maybe you don't have to worry. I only know of one time when the committee's got a public records request, me that made it. They were shocked, and they were shocked when they got it. And all of a sudden, they said, we don't have to do that. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
You have to go, how do we separate all the emails? That's your problem. not mine. It involved the people, the annex demolition.
Oh,
right.
man.
People who thought that it would be a good idea to have an official commission committee to discuss opposing it, which all we meant was everything they did was public record. There was something to sunshine laws, thank you. Anyway, I think that's it, so we'll,
Okay.
but in the same way as a substantive discussion, that's it. I'm supposed to announce the next meeting, the commission's meeting is March 7th, and our next meeting is March 27th. Thank you very much. Adjourned at 8:23 p.m. Let me get